Firefighters in West Texas still struggling to control a fire near Fort Davis. Flames destroyed several homes over the weekend. They're now calling this the Rock House Fire. The fire is still not contained. It's burned more than 108,000 acres while destroying 23 homes and 2 businesses.
As the fire was pushing through the hills in the background and the mountains in the background, it looked like a million candles up on the side of the mountain. After the fire went through and before, as the fire was pushing through, it was just a continuous ribbon of fire across the landscape. So the more work we do on the front end to reduce fuel loads, to change that fire intensity, the more successful we're going to be at protecting lives, property, and structures. And building those relationships like we have here today, that pays dividends forward when we have these large uncontrollable wildfires.
The McDonald Observatory is a satellite campus of the College of Natural Sciences within the University of Texas at Austin, but then as a part of the University of Texas system. The value of the entire infrastructure up here, I believe, is over $300 million. Back in 2002, the Texas Forest Service, before it was Texas A&M Forest Service, provided an initial fuel mitigation program for this site. You know, these fall in unique areas of the country and the world because they have to be in these remote situations for light pollution, etc. So you're going to find that a lot of them are adjacent to forest or woodland communities, national forests, etc. And in order to support the mission of the observatory, we have to do what we can to protect that infrastructure, as we're doing here with this fuel mitigation effort for fire prevention on site. On this mountain here, there really shouldn't be any fuel coming out, I think was my... Just pour marl or something, we'll roll around. Yeah. Well, don't say something that...
There's a lot more that goes into cutting trees and shaded fuel breaks, and when trying to meet the specs not only for fire prevention and mitigation, but an environmental standpoint of trying to get the natural landscape back. A lot of your landscapers are some folks that don't have the experience in this kind of work. Just thinks, you know, fire prevention, if it's not there, it can't burn. So they make clear cut the area, and so it's not aesthetically pleasing and can have a harmful either erosion, especially in the mountains like this if they get a good rain, and then of course any species or plant that they're cutting, cost would be astronomical to replace that. So we got 2 squads right now working with chainsaws, and so they'll cut to the specs of the project and drag it to another squad that's chipping. So after they cut, there's certain species that we're applying an herbicide to keep resprouting from happening. That way our work lasts longer and bigger bang for our buck.
In these high desert ecosystems, fire was fairly frequent, 7 to 10 years, low intensity, working through the grasses, taking out a few of the smaller trees. By taking these systems out of that natural cycle, we tend to see the brush grow up, trees grow up. Then when we do have a fire under high weather or extreme fire weather conditions, it's catastrophic. It removes all the tree species, it hurts the soil, and that's what we're trying to prevent by restoring a resilient landscape.
So if there were a fire coming through this ecosystem, or what natural fire would have used to do in this ecosystem, it would burn out some of the grass first, and what we want to do is keep the trees from burning. So we're reducing what we call ladder fuel, so the material that would take the fire from the surface to the tree. We're also taking off the lowest limbs as well. Especially these dead limbs that have been shaded out over time, fire would have historically gotten rid of these. So we're gonna take them out because they're highly flammable. Other things we'll do is take out some of the pinyon pines that are growing around here and some of the juniper as well.
I'm out here today hoping to gain some experience with our hand crew. It's my first time coming out with these guys, and I'm here as a swamper today. My job as a swamper is effectively removing the cut fuel as my sawyer removes it and moving it out to our piles and doing it in a safe manner.
It's challenging. You gotta watch your footing. A lot of accidents, slip, strips, and falls around here.
Yeah, so out here in the mountains, of course, it's mountainous terrain. I believe we're standing close to 6,000 feet. Basically, you're talking a lot of rock, a lot of loose rock, and so footing's dangerous. Rocks rolling out towards whoever's working behind you. And so chainsaws, you factor in the terrain, loose rocks and everything, then put a chainsaw spinning in your hand. You really, your risk exposure is a lot higher than somebody with the proper training and experience.
Like anybody trains to do stuff, so we kind of try to get the mentality of it. It is like a fire. You don't have the pressure of the actual fire, but we try to simulate that, you know, when we're out here.
When we're in our home units, you know, we don't get to go do all this stuff all the time.
Keeping the production level up for when we do have to fight fire.
So the process with the crew, we're lodging in Fort Davis. So it's about a 30-45 minute drive from the cut site. So we'll wake up in the morning, gaggle everybody up, have a small briefing there, come up to the work site, have a more detailed operational briefing for what we're going to handle that day, kind of the goals, safety concerns, work all day, rotate through lunch, so we're being productive throughout the day, and then about, you know, a little time before sundown, we'll shut down and rehab and make sure everything's good to go for the next day before heading back down the mountain and grabbing dinner and getting a good night's sleep for the next day. The McDonald Observatory is a University of Texas in Austin property. So this is their research facility. They are funding the project through their grants and just need a workforce. We've had a long-standing relationship with the University of Texas in this aspect, not only on this site, but some others. And so they know this is the kind of work we do often, so they reach out as often as they can, and we like to provide a service for them, as well as complete training for our guys and even some of theirs when they get a chance.
This partnership just continues a natural transition that has started many, many years ago. And we can't think of anybody else that could do it in a way that I perceive that this work can be done. So it's a natural fit. It's always been a natural fit. Plus it supports the mission of the Texas A&M Forest Service as well. So it works out well for both entities.